dan wil ik wel dat hij het hardste lacht zometeen. Hier is Socrates.
Zeker.
Oh, it's English. Hey.
Can you go there with Danielle? Welcome to How to Be an American, yeah!
Yeah!
Give it up, yeah. First of all, you're always right, no matter what. Definitely right. Tonight's English, it's an English night, right?
That's right.
Right, exactly.
Yes!
My name is Socrates, I am an American.
Woo! Woo!
First lesson right off the bat. See, actually, I'm not that energetic anymore. I just turned 57, which is 75 in Dutch. Looking forward to turning 62. 26. If you're slow on math, if math isn't your thing. Yeah, who here wants to be a stand-up comedian? Woo! Yeah, woo, yeah, I love this kind of crowd. Yeah. One of my favorite things, I think you all might know about this, is like the comedians laugh. You know, when you tell a joke you thought was really funny, you laughed in your bathroom and no, nothing happens. Then a moment or two passes. You hear that laugh. Yeah. The comedians enjoy it. That's what makes you feel good. There's a guy, Benjamin George Nelkin. He always has a great personal laugh, and I always feel the joke's half land if he's laughing in the back there. I was in America a while ago. I did one gig in America. I started my stage life here in Amsterdam, and I did one show in Orlando. And there was a bigger crowd than this. There was 30 people in the audience, and there were 25 comedians. Yeah, and I got to go first because I was the farthest travel, because I didn't come from Amsterdam, Georgia, or wherever the hell the Amsterdam is in America. I came from old Amsterdam, which I had to explain to a few Americans. And the second guy was from Texas. You know, that's as far as we got back there. Anyway, so I did my set, worked out fairly well, you know. And the Texas guy did also fairly well. And then the third guy was a double bump. Now, a bump is when he showed up and 25 comedians performed, and there was no time for him, so he got bumped from the night.
Oh shit.
Come back a week later, bumped a second time. 3 weeks. 52 comedians have gone on stage before him. I think this was his first night. I'm not entirely sure. I know it was his last night.
Whoa.
I'll quote his entire act. He got up to the microphone and he said, "I have to go." And he ran out of the room. This is an American place, so it's not little like this. It's huge, you know what I mean? You have to run to get to the door, and he ran out. I thought he ran to the bathroom and came back. They said, no, he ran all the way gone. So no matter how bad you ever do in your travels or whatever you do in your life, as long as you know, you don't have to go. How bad could it have been, you know? Of course, it could have been horrible. I don't really know. He went.
Uh-oh.
And there was no comedian's laugh, too. There was just awe and inspired amazement of this spectacle. But that's what's so cool about these nights. It's a live show, you know, as we all know when you're doing a live show, because, let's face it, I know a lot of you have been on stage before. You too, right? Yeah. But it's live. It's a unique kind of a thing. And so, like, my favorite Dutch words, of course, you know, is swaffelen. But if it's a cold night and I can't do that, you know, gezellig is this wonderful word that makes this reality of the Dutch life, this gezellig concept. I mean, this is a wonderful little room. It's a fantastic little cafe, and we, as a great group of comedic people, made it a gezellig evening as a group. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to in America, where one of us would have pulled out a gun and shot a couple of us. Which is ungezellig. And I'm a Greek, so I was in Greece just recently. I got to go before the fires. Yeah, you don't want to go during the fires. That's a travel tip. And Greece is different than here. It's a cultural thing. Like, you know, they don't speak Dutch, which is a waste of a little Dutch, I know, because it's completely useless there. And South Africa. But they have different things than we have. You know, they have different kinds of fish, for example, not just the one or two species. And they have these things called mountains. If you never, no, it's hard, right? It's as a Dutch. I know it's again, it's a cultural thing. See, these things, they're mountains. They're like land that goes up, and up is that way. Okay, it's like, have you seen bridges, right? It's like a bridge, but it's made out of rock, and there's no water. And okay, and a rock. Okay, rocks. All right, you know, like mud, when it becomes really, really dry, it's sort of a rock. And I can't explain dry, because that's not a concept that translates into Dutch at all, especially recently. I don't think there's a word in Dutch for dry, is there? I know there's like 12 words for rain. You know, my favorite one is miser. You know, for that nasty rain in your face because it makes you miserable. I think that's what they call it for. It's like the Dutch flag. It's red, white, and blue. You know, they got that from us. Yeah, that's how you be American. Doesn't have to be right. You just got to be proud. Pride will get you anywhere. Get you out of the EU. Ask the British. Keeping our goddamn marbles. So yeah, I've been living here for like 14 years. I'm actually going to become Dutch. I've applied for my Dutch citizenship. Appreciate that. Yeah. Dutch people. See, the expats, they all clap. Dutch people.
We know the struggle.
They don't clap at all. Buitenlander. So yeah, I'm going to have to give up my guns, which is really terrifying. And but I've been trying to learn my Dutch because, as you know, it's a moeilijke taal, which means I don't know something. And but a little while ago, I got to learn a Dutch word I'll never forget. It changed my life, actually. I highly recommend it. The word was aangereden, because I got slammed into by a guy on a scooter because I was aangereden door een scooterklotser. And I got this. You know, you guys were talking about tattoos. I got this cool one here. It's just line work. Now, I used to be all sorts of shading and such, but it's kind of gotten better. And actually, I had the tattoos. I actually went out with a chick who had a lot of tattoos once for a while. Yeah, she had those portrait ones. You know, she had like a big tattoo of her mom on the one tit and a big tattoo of her dad on the other one. It's kind of like, you know, awkward. You know, you had to know how to react to it. You know what I mean? What if I end up liking it? You know? Get used to it, you know. One day, sitting down to dinner, there's her mom with the one baby, your dad's there. She walks right between us. Socially awkward, you know what I'm saying? Pull out the gun. So anyway, I found myself laying on the ground, and this guy came up to me and he said to me, "Je bent aangereden door een scooterklotser," which is how I learned the word. It was helpful. Not helpful, but you know, I learned a word. It's not easy to learn a language. This is what it takes sometimes. And I got to go to the hospital, of course, the house of paracetamol. And they took one look at me and said, "Would you like a shot of morphine?" I said, "The paracetamol is not going to cut it." Definitely not. And they sent me home with a blue strap, and it was a modern strap because it had Velcro. And they told me, "It comes good." You've heard this one, right? It's like all Dutch doctors and therapists tell you it comes good. Even my Dutch, my butcher, my slagerij, he told me it comes good too. But I trusted him because, you know, he knows bones. And they sent me home and told me to keep exercising it, and this has been a while now, and for like the longest time I could only raise it about this high actively, and they said for passively you have to keep pushing it up. So I was doing this in my backyard a lot, waving to my neighbors. Getting this really bad vibe too, you know. Turned out they all thought I was a Nazi, like this guy on the light. Fucking light Nazi. I explained to them what happened to me, and they think I'm just now a disabled Nazi. So I went back to my doctor and said, "Hey doc, you know, I can't get my arm up. It's not coming good, you know. I mean, the first step to coming good is getting it up, and it's not going to happen, you know." And he told me, well, helaas en pindakaas. Which again, useless Dutch phrase, as you all know, means, oh well, peanut butter. And it's even less useful as in a medical diagnosis, you know. But it rhymes, which is the favorite thing about these things. The little girl's not here. My favorite Dutch sentence that rhymes is, of course, noken in de koken, which useless Dutch phrase. I've asked people, how do you use it in context? No idea. Geen idea. Nobody's ever told me how to use that in context. The only thing I know possibly is that when you combine noken and de koken with helaas and pindakaas, you end up with satay sauce. And I'll finish with my Dutch joke, because I tried to do some Dutch sets a while ago, because like I said, it's a moeilijke taal. Dus ik niet, het is niet echt meer te doen. Ik niet echt meer te doen, something to the effect. Omdat ik ben echt blessured, mijn pummeltje is echt blessured. Omdat gisteren, de hele dag, ik was meer in noken. Dankjewel voor de inspiratie.
High five box. Yeah, high five box. Socrates.